I've always believed in using your intuition, but sometimes it's really hard and it's something that you can't find outside of yourself. And so I wanted to build a tool where people could self-reflect. So that's why I created the Finance Feminine Oracle. I illustrated all the cards, each message I've written myself, and it's a way for you to expand your own way of thinking.
And so let's see what the future card.
Oh my gosh. That
momentum.
Is such a good pull, too.
Momentum. So I know in the future, because my soul I know is currently in this space where we are about to go into an even larger momentum. And that's where I see that. So I believe this to be very truthful in a reading.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Women Unlocking Wealth podcast. I'm your host, Danielle Thompson. I'm here with my co-host, Tamara Thompson.
Hey, everybody.
And we have a special guest today, Sabrina Guler. She's an intuitive CEO, and we're so grateful to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you become the intuitive CEO?
Oh, boy. How did I become an intuitive CEO? So I like to say I'm definitely an entrepreneur. I don't know how to title myself, but I like to say I lead with that. So I'm an entrepreneur, but I build my businesses using my intuition and strategy. So how did I get here? I'd say most of my career has been a mixture of grit, resilience, but wrapped up in this deeper knowing that I was meant for more. So my life started in New York City, and my dad's an entrepreneur, which was an amazing influence to have. And when I was 16, I felt like the rug got pulled under my sister and I. And I feel like with entrepreneurship, it's common to go through bankruptcies and failures, but we were young. We didn't know that. And so my dad went through a business bankruptcy in 2008. And what was once our comfort and our shelter became, a scary place. And so at 18, I moved to New York City, which is crazy. I look back at my younger self and I'm like, how did you do that?
New York of all places.
In New York of all places, right? And I moved to New York with $5 in a dream. And I just had this knowing that everything was going to be okay, but that I would have to, think on my feet and lead with that, right? Lead with my own deeper knowing that things were going to be okay. So I bartended a lot. I got myself into a lot of chaos being very young. I had no guidance. And when I was 20, in my early 20s, I went through a really bad breakup. And I remember I was in a New York City subway, and it was probably my first connection to my intuition. I remember it clearly. There was a song playing. I don't even know what the song was.
Shakira.
And I remember thinking I need to leave New York. My growth is tapped here. And I was exhausted. I was burnt out. And I felt like I was in this rat race of living a life that I wasn't very proud of. At the time, I didn't go to school. I was 21, 22. All the kids around me were going to school. And so I packed up my bags. I'd said bye to everyone and I moved here to Arizona. And I remember when I came here, it was the first time I really asked myself, I had this space to be who do I want to be? Because I finally had the surroundings, because Arizona was much cheaper at the time than New York, right? I had the ability to be okay, who do I want to be? And it was the first time I allowed myself, I gave myself permission to be well, I really want to be a millionaire. I want to run businesses. I don't want to be what my family was. My parents are fine now. My dad rebuilt himself. Everything's fine. But at the time, that was the scariest thing that could happen, right? Was that I became what had happened to me. So I came here, went to community college, and my first intuitive vision that I created for myself was I want to work in tech. So, which is crazy because I had no engineering degree and everything was falling apart at the time. And also at the time, you had to go to an Ivy League school to get a job at one of those places. But I just remember being I'm going to do it. And I just had this core belief that I knew. And I think a lot of people teach manifestation and vision, which is a huge core principle to a lot of the things that I do. Mm-hmm. But when I look at the thing that got me to where I went, eventually I ended up getting my dream job at Apple and starting many businesses. The core thing, the core ingredient was that I reverse engineered my life. So I was who are the people that are millionaires and getting these jobs? And what do I need to be to go and do that. And so when I looked at that practice, it boiled down to my energy, my identity as a person, not like how I dress up, but like literally how I show up to the world, how I say who I am with confidence, my posture, right?
Mm-hmm.
How I present myself online. And that led me to being an entrepreneur and now an intuitive CEO.
I love that. That's amazing. And you said posture, and I was like, okay, I need to feel. I was like, I feel a little tight right now. Let me like loosen up a little bit. There's something special, like when you go through the experience that you went through, and you saw your dad go through bankruptcy, and you're like, I don't want to be like this, like, and then you start looking at like people that are more affluent, and you're like, I want to be more like that. Like that was my goal for so long, and then we built our 7-figure business, but then it's like, I want to just live life to the fullest. Like we're going cliff diving next week because it's like, why not? But like, there's just so much more to it of being affluent and being able to give back more to people, like to like fill other people's cups more. Like when we do these podcast recordings, we're able to invite people out and just have great conversations because why not? Like, it's just so amazing. So I love what you're doing with the, like just following your intuition. Like I also moved across country from Louisiana to Seattle, Washington, and I never had a doubt. I was like, I'm just going to do it. And so happened, this was 13 years ago, that the company I was an operations manager, and it was in my 20s. I was like 24. I was an operations manager in Louisiana, and they were calling me Miss Danielle. And I was like, Miss Danielle, I'm 24 years old. That's so weird. But that company actually transferred me across country to be with my partner and, you know, start a business. So that was just following intuition. So is there ever a period of time when you're partnering with people that you feel in your gut that this is just not the right person to partner with? Like, can you feel that right away?
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think sometimes, like I like to say, I always use data. And then I use intuition. I think you need both.
You do market research and the data. And I'm very similar too. So I have a very similar backstory. So not on the business front. My mom was an entrepreneur as well. And my family actually went through bankruptcy on the personal front. And so I don't share that much, but we went through our hardships, and my brother and I both wanted to do more than what we saw that my father put my mother through. And so both my brother and I are both very successful at this point in our lives. I started our own company, building multi-million-dollar, agency side, female owned. But that's like the biggest purpose of this show, though, is sharing the thought of like how women really do have that limiting beliefs, or they don't trust their intuition, because it's like 1.9% of women, that's only reach $1 million mark. Like that's incredibly low. It's not annually. I actually looked it up. It's just in general for the business. In general, yeah.
Over the year?
It's because the majority of women are in the workforce, so there's not out of the bazillion people in the world, there's only a certain amount that are actually business owners.
Did you know, though, this was a stat last year, there are 1,800 women that enroll in an LLC and start their business every day.
Wow.
That's great.
We're literally going to see it already has exploded, but like that stat was like pretty powerful to me.
We're trying to get this 1.9% way up there too. But I mean, there's like the limiting beliefs and things like busting through glass ceilings that aren't there. And but the majority of women don't necessarily trust themselves. They don't trust their intuition, or maybe they've got lack of confidence. And maybe it's something that they've learned through the past. But all I know is I came from a family where my mom was extremely controlling of my brother and I. As soon as we moved out, my brother and I were like, we're good. And now, she doesn't control us like that anymore. But we were able to actually be ourselves and learn from those mistakes and things in our path too.
Actually, on that note, and I had something come to me intuitively as we're sitting here. I went to the Global Ambassador, which is an Arizona thing. And I had a drink upstairs on the roof. And it was a really weird time of day. It was like not busy. And this guy came and sat next to me. He was doing takeout from the roof, which is weird. Like if you haven't
takeout from the roof?
Yes.
Like Uber Eats?
Like he was waiting for an $175 steak to go. And I was like, what's this guy's story? So we start talking, and he ends up being one of the PayPal mafia guys. So one of the original guys that started PayPal. Oh. He was here from San Francisco with his wife, and his wife was staying in one of the rooms. So they were doing takeout, right? And he was bored. So he went to grab a drink. So we end up having a conversation. And I love talking about intuition with very wealthy older men entrepreneurs, because I know that they use it, but they don't know how to like say that they use it. So I had asked him because he's a ridiculous human. He's a billionaire and he owns a farm just to have a farm. He's ridiculous. So I asked him, I'm like, what do you think is the common thread that was in every venture that you've ever done? Like if you were to go back at it and look back at that point, he must be in his like 70s or 60s or something. And he was like, well, the common thread is that I moved so fast in every decision that I made and every venture, like he's like with PayPal and a couple of other investments, he's like, it literally took me 45 minutes to make a wire or 45 minutes to like hop on a plane and go somewhere.
Yep. It's so important to do the quick decisions.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of, not always, but a lot of women that I talk to, they're like, oh, I got to think about this, or I got to check with my spouse, or I got to do this. Like she knows me very well. I'm like, let's do this. So like she said, we're going base jumping in Utah on Monday. And the decision was made basically yesterday. And I wrote the guide today and I was like, we're coming. Like, it's like you make that quick decision. You know, you like to do things in life. There's a business deal out there. If you slow down on it, like, or if the guy's going to pick it up faster than the woman, if they're like, oh, let me think about that. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, sorry, it's gone. You know, that's happened to people too, where they're like, oh, that business. The same with sales, right? So we have a lot of competitors in our business model. And so one of the things is like, if you're not fast enough, they're like, oh, sorry, we moved it forward with another agency. I'm like, oh, what? I was just waiting for you to just say yes. But instead of picking up and be like, let's go, sign the contract.
You know, speaking to that, like what's really cool lately is we've been getting on sales calls and they're like, we were comparing companies. We were talking to these these three companies and they're like, but I feel like you guys we're truly connected to that you care. We just had two people yesterday.
There's two people yesterday that literally used the word soul connection.
Yeah.
So it was a doctor that owns a med spa. So he decided not to go with this large company that only caters to doctors and med spas. Instead, they moved forward with our company because he said he felt actually connected. And so I was like, well, that's a big thing to say. And we're grateful for those great affirmations as well. But there's another woman as well. She came out on our podcast. We actually invited her out on a podcast in Scottsdale. And she literally was like, she came in, she saw the experience, she connected with us. And then within a couple months, she was like, I want you guys to do my podcast. And she was like, I feel soul connected. And so like, we've been able to tap into our own spiritual sides, you know, being business owners and things like that. We love business, but we've also tapped in and understood more about our own tuition and what's important for our core values and be able to express that.
I actually have I developed my spirituality when I joined entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So my main thing for leaving corporate, my operations position, I was with this company for 8 years. And I basically said, show me an owl if I should go down this entrepreneur path, or show me a caterpillar so I can stay in corporate, the safe bet, right? Because I was with the company for 8 years. And the next day I was looking for caterpillars everywhere. I was like picking up rocks, like looking on the walls, just looking everywhere.
She obviously wanted to stay in corporate.
I did. Well, it was safe. I had a salary. I had, benefits, stability for sure. And I didn't know anything about building a business at that point. I mean, we had ideas, but
then you went outside and you saw.
I know. So anyway, later on that night, I walk and my neighbor had put out a statue and it was an owl with angel wings. Like owls don't have angel wings.
They don't.
So that was like such a huge sign for me that I was like, okay, I got it.
To see owls like all
everywhere.
The time, everywhere.
Like outside my house, like on
backyard.
T-shirts, on like
I have some
everywhere.
wild stories with signs.
Yeah.
I really do. But that's a great, I think signs are great if you really need like a leg to stand on. If you're like, okay, am I crazy?
For something.
Like, I really feel this, but like, is that really what I should be doing?
Right.
And so I think it's a great way to practice your intuition for sure.
Yeah.
Actually, when I got my job at Apple, or when I had my first intuitive hit to like go get that job, which was crazy at the time. So my journey wasn't easy. I had 15 failed interviews. And when I say 15, so it's 15 rounds of interviews with 8 people at a table that interview you independently. So I must have gone through like 100 different speed interviews because that's how it works in big tech.
Yeah, my brother did the same thing with Amazon.
Okay, yeah. Yep. So it's common, but at the time, like this was, 8 years ago. And I just remember coming home and I was so defeated because I was like, I know I'm supposed to work for this company. Like I'm so pissed. And it was embarrassing. Like 15 failed interviews. You come back after they fly you there and like your interview sucked, and you come back and you're like, should I just give up? This is like crazy. And I remember it was like the time where I was really developing my spirituality. And I remember I saw like apples everywhere. But not, I'm not talking about like at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like a dog had a collar and it was like an apple collar.
Yeah,
and then like
that's it.
And then like and then Starbucks would screw up my order and it was like an apple teeny drink. I don't know. It was just the most insane thing. And so anyway, I ended up getting my job there years later. But that was like I felt so defeated.
Oh.
And I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that like extra push.
Yeah, when we first started the business 13 years ago, we were living in California. It's very pricey, even just for a 1-bedroom apartment at the time. And I was like on the mountain, and this is like the stories I don't really talk about.
You're in a storytelling mode today.
I'll keep it short. But anyway, I was on the mountain, and I was like, "Can you just send us a client specifically in this area for video production?"
This is crazy.
And I start giggling. I just started giggling. But anyway, the next day, this guy writes me. I used to have an old Upwork account, and it showed I actually lived in Seattle, Washington, so I didn't have my true city on it. And so when I took the sales call with him, he was like, I was like, "So where are you in the world?" He's like, "I'm in Aliso Viejo." I was like, "We're in Aliso Viejo. How did you even know?"
That was nuts.
Like, I mean, I can't even make
top
that
of the
up.
mountain.
I interrupt you because it's about to get really weird. The place
Okay.
where I asked for signs with the apples was in Aliso Viejo.
No.
Yeah, that's where I
lived. No, that's where we lived. When did you live there?
I lived there back in 2017.
Were we there in 2017?
Yeah, we were there too.
You were probably
You were
the
on the
Trader
top.
Joe's, like
Babe,
all of like
I
that
was on the
area.
top of the mountain.
All right,
No.
So there was you can Google this. I used to live at Vantas Apartments, and
Was that where we lived?
it was like a super high end
Don't
apartment
remember.
complex. And
Yeah.
below there was the Trader Joe's. There was
Yes,
there was this little
that's
like
where we lived.
that was the bar. There was
I
like
would
a
go
bar.
there.
Oh my gosh! I'm like, what's
But you
going
know
on
what?
here?
This is not surprise. Does this surprise you?
No.
No, it
I don't-
doesn't.
So that's
We're
where
all
I learned
supposed to be
how to find
connected.
signs. So everybody had
It was
signs
in the
on their
same
cars.
area.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You can't, like, there's so
2017.
many cities in the world. There's so many states.
No, but it was
like-
literally, I'm not exaggerating, it was literally Aliso Viejo. It wasn't Mission Viejo.
Yeah,
It wasn't Laguna
it's
Niguel. It was
Aliso
literally,
Viejo.
yeah. And you know how on the top of the mountain they have those little townhomes?
City
with, like,
lights.
the live
Yes.
work townhomes.
I'm
Yes.
like freaking
Yeah, I
out
love
right
it.
now. That is so weird.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You can't, you can't make that up.
We'll just have to grab dinner next week.
Whoa, there's a
Yeah.
portal there or something.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
well, that's what's happening in our space, and what we're noticing is that when you pay attention to it, everyone that comes in there, they're all coming in for a reason. And what I've seen over the years is people will come in and then they leave and then they come back around. So it's almost like they come back on this path, and then it's like you were probably like shopping next to us and we didn't
we
realize
probably
it.
were at Trader Joe's together.
Probably
Probably.
100% were. I know
Yeah.
exactly where that is.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too. Obviously.
One of the, I want to circle back on the PayPal Mafia dude, because this actually changed the way that I look at my business, where the question that I had asked him is what's the common thread in your success? And he gave his answer. I looked back at mine,
Mhm.
and mine, I'm talking about like over a 10-year span. So like even little wins, you can't just look at major wins, but like even little wins, my every including like relationships, introductions, like how I met you, right? All these little things, it has
That
always
was
come from
crazy.
people, and it has always come from visibility. So a time in my life where I knew that I really was disconnected was when I left my private equity company in 2024. I felt so like I couldn't be myself, and I felt so disconnected from being able to do this kind of stuff and share my truth. And that's when I knew that I was blocked.
Wow.
Because if a common thread in your life has brought you so much abundance, and it's from you being yourself or you following a hunch, and you blocked that because of a person or a circumstance, there's so much abundance that's being shoved in a box somewhere and hidden.
I'm like talking about boxes. I was
Yeah,
like, what do we
let's
got in
do
this
this.
box? Yeah, no, let's do this. Can you talk to us a little bit how this came to be? First,
Yeah.
of all, like a little bit more with our audience too about like how it came to be, what it is.
So
we haven't done this on our shows before.
oh, fun. Okay, cool. So just in my run of career and entrepreneurship, I've always believed in using your intuition, but sometimes it's really hard. And it's something that you can't find outside of yourself. And so I wanted to build a tool where people could self-reflect, where if they have a question or a fear or a doubt, they could come to a tool religiously if they need to, and always have some kind of an answer, right? Or expand their way of thinking. So that's why I created the Finance Feminine Oracle. I illustrated all the cards, each message I've written myself. And it's a way for you to expand your own way of thinking. So yeah, the exercise, there's so many ways you can use them. I don't like telling people how to use them. I'm like, whatever.
We use them 2 different ways.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I will just let you guys pick a card if you want.
You go.
Can I pick 3?
Go for it. Go pick as many as you want.
Past,
it's
present,
funny.
future.
Women unlocking wealth, and we have the keys.
I have to move
right
just
there.
a second.
I love that.
Yeah.
So this is how I pull the oracles.
Uh-oh. She's getting real.
So while she's pulling her cards, a lot of people pull them in different ways. I think what she's doing right now is she's like reading the energy of the question that she's asking, and whatever feels right is kind of coming up. But you can use this for fun. I've had kids use them. It's whatever feels right. But you're typically supposed to ask a question. So for example, you could be like, I'm feeling really stuck in my business. I want to create a new campaign or market my business in a different way, and I feel blocked. Like, show me a way that I can unblock myself. Like, I feel stuck, right? There's so many strategies, there's so many things going on, and you pull a card. So I'm curious to know what your question is.
So the way that I typically work with these is I'll pull 3 cards and I'll say, what is it that I need to know currently about business in the learning from the past, present, and future? So then I'll pull the card. So the first card would select, what do I need to know about business related to the past? Self-care, which is 100% on point. 1, because I've lost over 75 pounds in the last 15 months.
Wow.
So that right there solidifies the journey that I went on about self-care and wellness on that piece. That's what I take from that card. What are your thoughts?
So by the way, like, this is a brand new deck. So like, we haven't opened it. I don't know what card she pulled. This is not like, I get the wildest reactions from people because they're like, this works. And I'm like, it's you. It's not me. You're pulling them. But yes, self-care is pouring into yourself.
So I would say like, and that's helped the business growth as well. Getting like, we were doing well as successful, even overweight, but I always knew that I could propel even further with self-care.
Oh, that's a good one. Wait, hold it up to the camera. Hold the card to the camera.
All right. So this word says success.
Yeah.
We're in the present moment, and we were just talking about how we've built wild success.
Show how beautiful the self-care card is.
Well, the self-care card, for those that see, self-care, with the coffee cup and the sunglasses. That's me and my Ray-Bans, my Meta glasses.
Or Ray-Bans.
So I take that as we're building success currently in the present, and I know that we're building it more in the future. And so let's see what the future card.
Oh my gosh. That
momentum.
Is such a good pull, too.
Momentum. So I know in the future, because my soul, I know, is currently in this pace where we are about to go into an even larger momentum, and that's where I see that. So I believe this to be very truthful in a reading.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad it resonates. How fun.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah. I do it differently. So she always laughs.
We're not going to have you like have flying cards.
Yeah,
out
I don't.
on,
I
so.
think I should just
Like
copy
be on
your
another
style.
episode.
So basically what I do is I shuffle and then I watch them fly out randomly.
I like that technique. That's a good one.
Yeah, and sometimes I get mad at the card and I'll put it back in the deck, and
then
then
it
the
flies
same
out again?
card will fly out 3 times.
That's happened. Sometimes it's aggressive.
Yeah, it's
You're
very
like,
aggressive.
damn,
It's like
you're
almost
meant
cut
for
my
that, so-
throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I love this. I could continue this conversation all day. Well, I'll have to have you come back for a part 2.
Yeah.
Could you let our audience know how they can connect with you, get their own deck, learn a little bit more about what you do and how you help people on the intuitive CEO part?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're interested in grabbing a deck, you can go to shop.sabrinaguler.com. How you spell that's in the show notes. And then if you're curious about tapping into your intuition, joining a community of entrepreneurs that are also tapping into their intuition, you can go to intuitiveceo.com. I help people. I consult people through their businesses, making business decisions, and just growing as a human. So that's it.
Cool. This has been a fun combo. Thank you for letting us do this the first time on our show. So we love doing this off the show. But thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
We do.
And those of you that are watching the show, be sure to subscribe, ring that bell, leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing, and leave us a review on Apple or Spotify, and we'll see you in the next episode.